Welcome to another episode of Not Right, Not Wrong. This is your brother Ja. I'm on here with my two great comrades, Mr. C1, Mr. Dapper, Mr.
Hola.
Mr. Charismatic Dark Mark. How are you,
You
sir?
see me. You see me.
You're
Listen,
ready.
I'm
You're
blessed,
ready.
man. I'm blessed.
You're
Another
ready.
day.
Another day. And
Can't
of
complain
course,
today.
ain't nobody gonna care about the complaint.
You see it.
Yeah, man. And last but definitely not least, the ever lovely, the queen, the goddess, the ever beautiful Tamika, aka D1. What's happening
D.
there?
Oh no. D.
Woo!
Oh no.
Hello, hello. That was some kind of introduction. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Well deserved, well deserved, well
Thank
deserved. I'm just transferring the sentiments of the million men fanfare that you have as per uh discussed on the first episode. You know what I'm saying?
And counting.
And counting.
Yeah.
And
So
counting.
you say I've seen none of that, brother, but I hear
Yeah,
you.
yes, yes. So now let me explain what other brothers would classify that as. What I just did right there.
Hmm.
Uh hardcore brothers would classify that as me simping.
Here we
Simping.
go.
Yes, simping. They would look at that like, look at this dude simping, trying to impress us. We trying to get the drawers. Wait, hold up. Ain't he married though? Simping ass. The simping ass. Yes. I hear you. The hardcore bros. Even though the introduction was from the heart, is from authentic place. Nah, they were looking at, nah, man, what this dude simping for? So yes, so I segued into that because the topic for tonight is we're going to discuss simps and pick-me's. Yes, simps and pick-me's. So
Boom.
I came up with this topic because, as we all know, maybe it started with the millennials, maybe it started with us Gen Xers, but there's a there's a pocket of our people. I'm not going to say all of us, but there's a pocket of our people, meaning black men and black women, engaged in what we call quote unquote gender wars.
Mm.
There's really nothing outwardly violent per se, but on social media, a lot of relationship topics come up, and brothers air out their grievances on what's wrong with black women, and black women air out their grievances with what's wrong with black men.
Mm-hmm.
And a debate ensues. Right? So I see this all the time whenever a relationship topic comes up about us, about the unification of black man and black woman. So debates, vitriol spewed at one another. However, as
However.
yes, as the Webster's dictionary describes a simp, it's short for simpleton, which means foolish, silly, naive, simpleton. However, in our beautiful culture of ours, our smorgasbord of hip hop and urban and black culture, we done shortened the word simp and gave it a new meaning, which is a man who sides with the women about their plight against black men. So any man who sides against the woman and speaks for women on their behalf, trying to call out black men, the vitriol, he's given the vitriol. He is a simp. He's a simp. He's just saying things that the women want to hear. He's saying things with hopes to impress them. He's saying things with ultimately try to get some ass. So brothers, so there's a faction of brothers who ain't feeling that. You are a simp. You're a beta male. You're a simp,
Mm.
and it's not gonna work for you because you're not gonna get ass. And so that's the yes.
Mm.
Conversely,
Lot going on there.
conversely, on the women's side,
Mhm.
any sister who understands the black man's plight and speaks in supportive of him and tries to talk to the fellow sisters and make them understand the black man's plight, she is a pick me. You a pick me. Oh, wait, what you trying to, you pick me, which is essentially she wants to get picked. She's trying to impress a man. Shawty ain't got a man, so she want to be picked by a man. So she's gonna do and say anything to impress a man, so she can be picked by a man. So it's not a complimentary term, obviously, as y'all know.
Mhm.
So she is a pick me. So Simps and pygmies, why they exist, how they exist, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? D1. Always ladies first. You know how we
Always.
do. Always ladies first.
Always. D1, set it off. Set it
Which
off.
which brothers watching this probably call that a simp move too.
That's right. That's simp behavior.
Yeah, that was simp. Yes, simp behavior. I just committed simp behavior. My bad. Okay. Yes, ladies, but I don't. But you know me, I don't care. Ladies first, my dear. Go ahead. Your
Pretty
thoughts.
much.
So,
Have you ever heard those terms? First of all,
you know, I've heard them. I never really understood. Pick me. It feels more self-explanatory.
yes.
So I think I understood more of what that meant. You just educated me a lot right now as to some of the underpinnings of simp and pick me. So simp sounds to me, I feel like we had other words when we were growing up. That, you know,
I have no doubt.
Oh yeah.
We had some other unkind words that were,
Yes.
I think, applied to men who kind of were understanding maybe of female perspectives, and it's never been looked upon very kindly. I can't think of any words that we have particularly for females for agreeing or understanding the male perspective, but I know for sure there are many words for women who ended up getting picked.
Yes.
And getting picked repeatedly, but I
Right,
don't know if there was a term for the behavior leading up to it.
Yes.
So with all of that being said, this is a bit of an education to me. And as you're explaining it, all I keep thinking is, well, what's so wrong with seeing another perspective? What's so wrong with seeing the perspective of another gender, of another group? And if it's authentic, if you really can understand that perspective, then I don't understand what the problem is. Now, at the same time that I believe that, I also do believe that there are some people who probably do act as if they understand the plight of the opposite gender for the purposes of being picked in one way or another. I do, like, yeah, that happens, I'm sure. But to think that everybody fits into that box, that everybody is like, oh, the moment that you can see things from a female perspective, you must be a simp. That's the only explanation. That's the only possible explanation. That sounds crazy. That sounds a bit crazy to me.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. I got more to say. I'm gonna hold it though.
Brother Mark.
Yo.
Go ahead,
I
man.
guess it's my turn, huh?
It's your turn.
Simp.
It's your turn.
Yes, it's your turn, man. First off, I present the question to you, sir. Are you familiar with those terms, simps and pygmies?
I guess I've just become educated in regards to those terms. I may have heard it in passing, but it's not something I ever subscribed to or thought of with any legitimacy in regards to describing someone in that fashion. So for one, for someone to say that someone is a simp, and not only for the person to believe it, this person has to have some sort of validation, or you feel that you need some sort of validation from this person. Ultimately, you just have to be who you are. Why would you care what another person thinks about what you say? So if this is your goal and this is your sole intention, let's say, just for conversation's sake, to get some ass, and this is what you're hell-bent on doing, you're going to do this by any means you see fit to get some ass, if that's your goal or your sole purpose. However, it may not be a goal that's sinister with you just getting some ass. This may be someone that you truly like, and you may not necessarily be a wordsmith or be able to just, speak poetry, and it's just musical to her ears. So you may say things or something you think may work. At some point, you're going to reveal your true colors. But at that point, she may already like you. You understand? You may already be where you want to be at with this person. So she recognizes at some point you said what you said just to get with me. Here you are now. This may blossom into something special. Same thing in regards to pygmies. What if this is her goal? And what if this is how she knows how to meet someone? It's a lot of factors to look at behind the scenes. Maybe how she was raised, who she was around, who tutored her in regards to womanhood up until, adulthood, to where she feel that she needs to seek a companion, or that's maybe the only way she was taught how to do so. So, I mean, I've heard these names before. I've heard people say it and say a lot of things worse than that, especially what D1 referred to when we were younger. You may have a perspective about such. So even if you were young and you sided with the opposite sex in regards to different things that may have been going on, from that point, if you were like that and you were younger, if you stayed on that path up until this point, you're a whole lot educated than a lot of other people who they so-called call simps. And you may be where you want to be with a specific person because you really took that education to heart and learned what you really need to say to someone else of the opposite sex. I don't know. I mean, social media just has a stranglehold on a lot of things that people do, a lot of things people say, and definitely the way people act. Definitely that. And this is a product of that, because some people may actually be like, well, I don't want to be called that, but this is the behavior that I'm exhibiting. So for a male to say to another male that he's a simp, for conversation's sake, I don't think that would affect him, because a lot of times we look at another male as competition. He competing with me. That's why he gonna say that. Or he's hating. I think it would hurt worse if a woman said that to a man. You understand? Because that's who he's seeking as a goal. This is what he wants. I think it would hurt worse for a woman to say that to the male. Oh my God, you a simp. Beat it. I think that would hurt a whole lot more as opposed to it coming from another male. I don't know. I think probably by the conclusion of this podcast, maybe us three could come up with another word to use as opposed to simp and pygmies. Maybe it could be something, more enlightening or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not by this podcast, but we could scratch our heads on it and come up with something. That's not going to stop people from using it.
Right.
We definitely not going to stop that. But I agree, D1, in a lot of the things that she say. If that's who you are, that's who you are.
Yeah. Now, D1, before you wanted to expound, you wanted to share more of your insight. I wanted to ask you honest question. Was there any time in your life, whether it be you or any of the ladies in your circle, your tight circle or acquaintances, where you felt that a man was pandering to you and you lost respect for him because of that? Like you saw through the bullshit and you knew he was pandering to really get some ass. Or as the back in the days term was, a dude is on your bra strap. We all know that term. Yeah. So have you in your
I
lifetime
remember that.
have you ever
Taking it
experienced that in your
back.
lifetime, or you or any women in your circle experienced that?
Come on,
Truthfully.
dude. Come on. Stop.
You know what I'm saying?
I swear I feel like sometimes these questions are setups. I'm grown. Yes, I have, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, share the
Um,
story. We want to hear the story.
there's stories. Like that's constant and consistent. It started before I had bra straps. Like it started before that. But and it, yeah. Like men, boys, males at all age groups do a lot of different things to get female attention. Um, some of the things are some of the things work, right? Some of the things are cute, some of the things work, some of them are effective. Some of them are just for the moment, right? Some of them are just we got your attention, we got what we wanted, we good, done, out of here. Some of the attention seeking behavior is long term, some of it is authentic and real, some of it is not. Um, some of it will switch from you to somebody else in your crew if you don't pay attention. That's happened a ton of times. I've been in clubs where I've watched some male go from crew member to crew member. Like we are literally standing right next to each other, dude. We're literally right next to each other, and you were really like, "Oh, you won't talk to me? Okay, that's fine." And we'll move on to somebody else. I had one of the funniest stories I think I have is from back in high school when I'm leaving school, it's after school, and some dude approaches me and he's being nice and complimentary and all of these things and saying, I'll give you the sun, the moon, the stars, like all of this stuff. Um, and then I expressed that I'm
He
not
went
into.
after seven on you. He went
Listen,
after seven on you.
full baby face. Like, what do you want? Like Luther Vandross energy, the big Luther, like all of it. Um,
The
and
big Luther.
this is all in the span of one New York City block, right? Not even the whole block, maybe, but in the span of a block. He starts out, he approaches me, and he's
Take it.
interested. He expresses his interest. By the time we get to the corner, I'm like, no, I'm not interested. And he shot his shot a number of times. No, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. By the time we get to the corner, he hears it finally. Oh, you're not interested? No. This is in the time that we had physical phone books. You'd have your
Wow.
little black book that you keep with you.
Oh gosh.
He said, wait a minute, what's your name again? I said, Tamika. He pulls out his phone book, the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen and ever experienced, and funniest at the same time. He pulls out his phone book, he flips to the T section. He goes, oh, Tamika, I already got a couple of those, and moves on. Like,
Wow. Yo.
you was just gonna give me the moon, the sun, and the
Yo.
stars.
From simp to savage, I see.
That needs to be from simp to savage. That is the thing. But so there's some lightheartedness around it. There's some jokes around it. Many
Yeah.
women have navigated it all of our lives. It doesn't stop. I don't think it ever stops. At least I haven't seen the end of it quite yet. But here's where the problem is that now that I'm older and more mature and I'm evolving and I'm doing all of my own self work and all of this stuff, what we're looking for is connection. what most of us are looking for, especially at this advanced age that y'all are sitting at, is connection. Not me, y'all. I hope you caught that. And
Advanced.
so advanced age.
Caught that. Got it.
All righty.
But how else do you form that connection without building an understanding and an empathy for what the other person is going through? That's what I'm looking for. And if you can't, I don't want anybody in my life who can't empathize with me, friends or otherwise. Like, no, you have to be able to empathize with me. And it's scary to me, actually. Like, this is bullying behavior. This is name calling. This is intimidation. This is like, if you want to stay a member in good standing of the male group or a member in good standing of the female group, this is how we behave. We don't cross the line to understand what the other group is going through. And if you do, we will oust you by name calling. What? Are we adults? What are we doing? It's name calling, it's bullying, and it is really divisive. But in addition to that, there's an assumption that we're making that I want to highlight, is that this is, again, a really heteronormative perspective, because there are some males that are not interested in relationship with females. There are some females who are not interested in romantic relationship with males. And so if somebody of the male gender can empathize with my perspective, but he's not interested in any romantic relationship with me, then what? Can we hold that? Can we understand that it's possible to empathize without wanting anything else?
Right, that ties into the platonic relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether it's genuine or not, and y'all already know my stance. I say it can exist, so it definitely ties right in.
Yeah. And I also think it ties into some of the reason why we even wanted to do this podcast in the first place. Part of the reason that we wanted to do this podcast in the format that we're doing it with two males and me is to be able to get both sides. Stop it, C1. Is to be able to get both sides of the perspective and to show that it's possible to empathize with each other. And empathize doesn't mean full agreement. It doesn't mean that, you don't got to be a punk. You don't got to be any other P words to be able to empathize with somebody else's experience. And you don't have to wholeheartedly agree. You can just say, oh, I can see how you came to that experience. I can see how you came to that perspective.
People just want to listen. People just want to be heard at the end of the day. Everybody has a perspective, and they just want to be heard, and their perspective respected. And I just want to say, well, first of all, before I say this, Brother Mark, you want to add on to
that? Just a few things to add on. For the most part, D1 brought everything home, and I just mirror everything she said in regards to that. And for the most part, it's kind of.
I just want to pause right here and highlight.
That was a Simp move, son. That was a Simp move, son. Son, that was a Simp move, yo. Hey, my dude. Nah, son.
It's what it is. I'm simping, man. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's not right. It's not wrong.
Not right. Not wrong, right?
You say it, right?
Yeah.
You say you caught C1 simping.
Yeah.
C1 for D1.
We both did it tonight. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, fellas. My bad, brothers.
That sound like a slogan.
No, but you gotta apologize for it. Don't you care?
That sound like a slogan for an election. C1 for D1. That sounds like something that should be on a button.
I like that.
I like that.
Look into that.
I also like caught me simping. And from simping to savagery.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about that after.
Yeah, man. How he ended that though? Like, whoa, okay.
Why he came for me like that?
You know what I mean?
And if he's watching, that's it. I'm just.
He might be watching. He might be watching.
Yep, and I want to know how many Tamikas he still got in his phone book right now. They all gone.
What I was going to say in regards to what Tamika said, if you agree with or side with or able to empathize with the opposite sex, now this is what's happening. It's turned to name calling. That's only self-definitive of the person who's in receipt of this, what we so-called call simping. So it would have to be D1 to say that this particular person or this guy is simping. But what if she likes it? What if she likes it? You know, what if it turns into something as opposed to just name calling that we're doing across the board? Again, we should brainstorm and come up with a word or something that we could use across the board for everybody. I'm sure at some point down the line, we may revisit this topic again. At that point, we may come up with another word for it. But since she had touched on the club thing, the club thing is totally funny, where she said she was screwed up in the club and the gentleman moved from crew member to crew member.
Yeah,
Crew member.
yeah.
Listen. What Steph Curry said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Listen, it's numbers. He is going to get one of them. So this is how I always felt in regards to the whole club thing. Now, you know the ratio in clubs, it's always about maybe 5-to-1, 6-to-1, 7-to-1, 8-to-1, women to men. There's always more women in the clubs than men. You understand?
Facts.
It's just a beautiful thing. It's an overabundance of beautiful women. So I always felt with a club. So let's say for conversation's sake, I see D1 in the club. Strike up a conversation with her. Of course she's interested. It's just what it is.
Let's play it out.
Right?
Can we role play
So,
it? Come
wait. Let me finish. So I talked to her. So we're in this modern age. This is not way back when we had to get a piece of paper and carry around our pens. So let's just say this is current.
Mm-hmm.
So I speak to her. I give her my number. I don't call her on my phone to lock it in. I don't do none of that. I give her my number. We spoke long enough. If she's interested, she'll call me. So I may move around the club. I may see someone else that I'm interested in. I do the same thing. I may give her my number. Again, I'm not taking her as if she's interested, she'll call me. But, you know, a lot of people doing that. Listen, so give me yours. I'll lock it in. Now I got yours. Not to say that now we're committed, but now both of us have each other's number. I got it. Now I could text you. I could call you. I could call you at 5 a.m. in the morning. You may have just did that just so the dude could get off your back. But now he really has your number. Always felt that, let me move about. Let me check out the variety of all the beautiful flowers that are inside there without me being committed to just one person. I give you my number. If you're interested, we spoke long enough, call me. Once I call you, hey, listen, remember we met such and such. Oh, yeah, we sparked the conversation from there. And just keep it going. I don't know. Law of averages. It's definitely going to average out. If the ratio 8-to-1, the numbers is in your favor big time. But not everybody subscribed to that. So another dude may talk to Tamika for 15, 20, 30 minutes. Get the numbers, they change it. He got it. He called the same night. She barely left the club. Hey, listen, how you doing? So I'm just ready to leave. Why don't we meet somewhere, go to the diner or something? To some people, that works. It may not work for her. So it's all a matter of taste and your opinion in regards to what you like in regards to that. But I think it's definitely a topic that people are going to see and enjoy and learn from. Or people may watch this and think that this is them. Or a woman may watch it and think that that's her in regards to the term that they use for the woman. But again, it just has to be some level of validation in whoever it is that's saying you're like that. If you believe you are, then you are. If you believe that you're not, then you're not.
I just want to highlight that some of the, because I'm really just learning about these terms, some of this behavior doesn't fall into simping for me, right? So the dude in the club who's shooting his shot, doesn't necessarily fall into simping behavior, but when you kind of cater to me in a particular way is what I'm hearing. Um, is simping. And it even sounds like maybe not cater to me as an individual, but cater to women as a whole. I I think is what simping is.
I
You are correct.
I
You are
I
correct.
think it's women as a
Part of it.
whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are right. That's part of it. I left that out. I just came from a social media aspect of it, but yeah, that is part of it. The excessive catering, the pandering, the gullibility, being at the opposite sex beckoning call, um, submission. A lot of words, a word a lot of women hate because submission implies powerlessness.
Mm.
So that can get a pick me tag. Um, and opposite for the men, the same thing, the sim tag. So those will be behaviors outside of social media that will be, judged as pick me or simping behavior. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. But you know, I with regards to the vitriol that these people spit at each other, it just goes back to what I always say. They're not working within,
Mhm.
and they think all the blame is outside of themselves, and nothing could be further from. They could be they could be any more wrong. They couldn't be any more wrong. It's not outside them. Everybody needs to heal and work within. And once they do that, these divestors, these men who are divestors who really had enough for black women and black women who divest from black men, you gotta work your pain out within. You gotta get to the root of your pain, work it through, work it out,
Mhm.
and not cast judgment on your brother. I mean, at the end of the day, these are black faces that we're looking at. These are black
Mhm.
faces that come from the same struggle, the same trauma. My thing is, how could you look at the face of the opposite sex and disavow them or disown them or just have such a hate for them? That's not
Mm-hmm.
that's not the actual person that did the injustice to you. But they may represent that person, but that's not the person.
Yeah.
Don't blame her or him. Get to the root of your demon. Get to the root of the foundation of your demon. Look at that. And don't look at Tamika and be like, no, I can't stand you because all of y'all. No, ain't no all of y'all.
Mhm.
She ain't had nothing to do with it. Sisters don't look at me and Mark and be like, all of y'all. No, we're not all of y'all. We ain't had nothing to do with it. We don't know you, sis. You know what I'm saying? Get to the root of it. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I
So
definitely have nothing to do with it.
yeah, we ain't for real. So that's my message to the angry black folk out there. That's my message. Work within, work within, and
But
maybe the name calling will stop. Maybe.
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 But as you said that, Jai, it made me think about another aspect of this is that are these names exclusive to black people? Like, do other communities do this? Do white people do this? Like, it, we,
Honestly, I don't think so. Because we
oh,
because the
I
reason why
do.
I say that the reason why I say
I
that
do.
is the reason why I say that we're always the purveyors of culture.
yeah,
We start and we end. Everyone else cultivates from us.
yeah.
Everyone else appropriates from us. Any from anything that you could think of. I mean, just my perspective on it. I'm
Hmm.
you know, I'm be on my pro black shit.
We know it. We know it.
But we are, you know, we are the purveyor. But for me, you know, black men and women are purveyors of culture. So anything that we start, we term the slang, the dialect, the diatribe, everyone else picks up on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So go ahead.
Here's the thing. Yes, we are the purveyors of culture in so many ways, but we also are, in my opinion, also impacted by a culture around us. Um, and the fact that we're as divided as we are is no mistake. And that comes from outside of our culture. That comes from division, from, you know, from slavery, right? That comes
Right.
from division, from, you know, how can we control these people? Okay, we're going to separate them, we're going to put them against each other, we're going to lynch this group, we're going to rape that group, we're going to make them hate each other, they're going to blame each other, they're not going to be able to find comfort in each other, and if they do start to find comfort in each other, we're going to break that up, we're going to take their children, we're going to send the men to jail, we're going to put the women to work. We're gonna have the men feel emasculated because now the women are working and making more money than them, and now the women are gonna feel that they can do it without the men, and all of this stuff. As much as we are the purveyors of culture, we also are victimized by culture, and we're pawns of all of this systemic and systematic racism. And at some point, we have to come to terms and understand that we're being used as pawns. And so many of the conversations that I've had with men, and this is one of the reasons why I really, really like having conversations with you two, because you both are open-minded in a really refreshing way. Um, and like other conversations generally lead to me feeling as if I've been used by the system, but the man presenting himself as if he also hasn't been used by the system. We've both been moved around in certain ways as pawns. And so if you see me as the reason for your demise, if you see me as the reason that you can't get a job or can't get paid well or get followed or get beaten, or unfortunately murdered in the streets, if you start to see me as the reason for that, then yeah, why would you want to empathize with me? Why would you want to empathize with me? Because Tamika is a member of this group. Tamika is a Black woman, and Black women as a whole have done this thing to me. Black women as a whole have done this thing to Black men. And so it stops you from seeing me as an individual, but it stops you from seeing the group that I belong to as a whole. And we've all been used, and all of us have been used by the system. And at some point, we got to face that and come together and start to heal our wounds. And part of healing your wounds is to heal your wounds, to, as Ja is saying, heal your individual wounds. And then we can come together. I don't need anybody to heal let me do my work. Let's come together and then we do our work together. But I am not the enemy. I am not the enemy. Black men is not the enemy. We have to really understand how we've been used. And once we understand that, I don't want to create new language around simps and pick me's. Like I
I
no,
agree.
I just
I
no, it
agree.
shouldn't exist. It should not exist. And it definitely, if it's only going to exist in the Black community, what are we doing?
I
Why are
agree.
we doing this to each other? And we doing this seriously? Like we seriously, like y'all are for real right now? This is not play. And we adults too? Come on, stop. We
Grown,
gotta set
grown,
an example. We grown. We gotta set an
grown, grown.
example.
So,
Amen.
um, definitely,
Amen.
definitely in regards to that. So the first thing we could do in regards to reaching other people is do exactly what it is that we're doing now. We're speaking. We're using this platform as a means to speak. It's going to be various topics that we speak about on this Not Right, Not Wrong podcast. And we're going to come across someone that may have shared some sentiments prior to watching this podcast. Maybe they feel different afterwards. Maybe any and everything that we said, whether it's my view, whether it's your view or Josh, it may change them. It may start that healing. It may do something. You understand? And at the same time, we do want people to subscribe once you watch it. That was a sidebar.
Hit the button.
Hit the button. Hit the button. But this is what we could do now. We could have podcasts like this and speak to each other about conversations like this and topics like this. Then whoever watch it and they subscribe, they can go home and then start a conversation with someone else who they feel worthy of to have the conversation with. Like, look what I came across. They had this conversation on a podcast about simp and pick-me's. And then it'll just go forward from there. We may not be able to get everybody, but this is a small world. And as we continue to do these podcasts and it starts to reach people, we're going to realize that more and more how small it is, because people are going to start watching. And then they're going to let us know how it has impacted them. Us just speaking like this, us being open and honest about different things we may have been through, some things we may have never been through, or we may learn of or have information about. And all we're doing is just sharing. And in regards to your point, as far as this really happening, and, you know, at the age that Ja and I are at.
The advanced age.
Yeah, just us, Mark.
Just us.
Yeah.
I think it definitely crossed color lines. I don't think it's just in the Black community in regards to that, because at the end of the day and at the end of everything, we're all human beings. So as much as we are the purveyors of all things cool, and, you know, I agree with that wholeheartedly. If we start it, we don't contain it. Once it's up and it's out, everybody else feel like it's cool too. They're going to adapt to it. So it can't just be in the Black community where we saying Simps and pick-me's for Black people. That got to be up and out for everybody. It's not necessarily a race. It's more so a behavior. If this how I got correctly from what Josh said when we opened up the podcast, it's a behavior. So if this is what the behavior is that people are defining, it's across races. And as you said, shouldn't exist? Absolutely not. I don't know. It just shows a level of immaturity for some people that view it as such. But again, the stranglehold that social media has on a lot of people, this may affect people in some ways we may not want it to. Rejections cause a lot of things, especially rejection among your peers or people you consider in your group. So we could look at it, we could speak about it because we're a lot more mature, we're older and wiser, John and I, in our, you know, golden years. But some people can't do that. It may be different to them. It may look different to them. They may not like that. They may feel like they are, and they may feel like they need to do something to change that, especially if it comes from the opposite sex. It may be an insult, and that may lead to other things, especially what D1 touched on in regards to, you know, talking about the Black women or them being the enemy. That's something deep within you definitely got to work on, and it requires some healing. And I think it requires healing for all of us. So this is definitely a good topic that we're speaking on, and I would like to think that it's going to help someone or maybe two people, and that just multiplies into helping other people. And you guys keep subscribing.
Keep subscribing.
Hit the button.
Press the button.
Hit that button. Yes. And on that note, well said, Brother Mark. That is our time. We thank you for another dynamic episode of Not Right, Not Wrong, on behalf of the lovely Tamika and Mr. Charismatic Brother Mark. I'm Brother John.
You see it. You see it.
And we bid you adieu.
That's
and
it.
good night. And
Good
peace and love.
night.
Not right, not wrong. Hit that button. Hit that button.
Hit
Support.
the button.